going to change the order of what we're doing because we came back early, so people they're not used to us coming back early. So we're going to start with board committee reports. So can I hear from Mr. Menuda for Audit and Finance? Or do you want me to pass you first?
Hang on one second, Mr. President.
All right.
All right, so on the Audit and Finance meeting on May 9th, we discussed the reserve funds. Basically, we're balancing that out as, you know, per recommendations for those fund reserves. Item 1.2 is a resolution to declare equipment obsolete, authorize disposition of the same, pretty standard operating of those items. Resolution to provide food service bids, so we will go through that portion as well as the transportation bids. It's a very short meeting and then we adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Menuda. We're going to move on to the Library Committee, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. The Library Committee met on Wednesday, May 9th. Wayne Hoy from the Library's Technology Department gave us an overview of the department and the upgrades that they've been working on, including wireless and internet service. There's a half day for library employee development, which is on this evening's agenda. There was discussion about an air conditioning issue at the library, and a temporary truck-based chiller will be in operation through the summer. And shall I go on to the Policy Committee?
Please.
That also met on Wednesday, May 9th. We reviewed several policies, including 5411, eligibility for athletic and extracurricular participation. There was a small edit in the proposed change. The change is intended to make the policy clearer and easier to enforce. The committee requested that the policy be scheduled for review halfway into next school year so that we can understand the impact of the policy change. 5,500 student records was reviewed, and we'll need some further edits. Regulation 4526R, computer use and instruction, was discussed, and several small edits were suggested. A statement about weighting of grades was discussed and is expected to be revisited by the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to do the Curriculum Committee. Besides the stuff that's on the agenda, we talked about having a curriculum audit, which is going to be a very exciting thing that's going to happen starting this summer. We're going to look at the revision of the field trip request form for 2018-19. We talked about the talent development communications update. The next generation learning standards rollout for May and June was also discussed. Grade 4 resources, what's available, was discussed. We also have some future consideration things, so if you're interested in any of these, please come to our next meeting. Diversity in our accelerated course programming at the middle school. And we're going to start talking about that. And we're going to be talking about the read and write program for English language learners and students with IEPs. So we're going to move on to exceptional learners. Mr. Howard.
Yes, we met on the Exceptional Learners Committee met on May 10th. We had a robust meeting talking about some of the compliance. We went over the compliance review for the district. We went over the plan from the Exceptional Learners Committee for sustaining the good standing and staying in good compliance. We also talked about the ongoing reading and professional development. And we also had a discussion around the professional development support for teachers, assistants, and teachers' aides that was held on May 10th. Very good professional development day that was conducted by the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. I'm going to move on to my section, and that's the resolution to adopt policy on the second reading, number 5411, eligibility for student athletic and extracurricular activity participation. I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Mr. Levinstein.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions, and I apologize. I'm new here, and I don't know if these were discussed. But in reference to the failing 2 classes, which I'm guessing remediation starts, the clock starts at the end of the marking period, okay? So I was just wondering, in regards to the final marking period, if there's failures, I noticed that it said it continues to the fall. So my question is, there might be times when students are not going to they're not going to be in the same class, and they may not even take that class in the fall. So is there a chance that they don't have any consequences for failing 2 classes? For argument's sake, if it's an optional class that they fail, and they don't need to take it in the fall, then there's no remediation for them. There's no following up and seeing that they're getting better. Is that correct or no?
Can I call on Mr. Forget?
Yeah, Mr. Levinstein, tell me what number you're referring to.
Yeah, well, the resolution for attendance and failing classes for student eligibility for athletics and extracurricular.
And I'm just asking which portion of
Oh,
the
so,
policy are you referring to?
okay, so,
Is it number 3 under academics? Any student failing more than 2 subjects at the end of the school year will be ineligible to participate in athletics and
Yes.
extracurricular activities in the fall. Students may attend summer school in order to pass failed subjects and become eligible. The student's final average at the end of the school year will be used to determine fall eligibility. So I'm not clear as to what your question is.
okay, so, well, then you're saying if they fail, they're not eligible at all in the fall
That's
to
the way I
participate
interpret that.
in anything. So there's no remediation for them if they fail the 4th quarter then?
I wouldn't say there's no remediation. I would say that they are not entitled to participate. There may be remediation. They can take the course that is offered during summer school.
No, okay, I understand that. So 3rd quarter failure is different than 4th quarter failure in reference to the policy, how they're encouraged to get their grades up.
This is failure for the whole year, which means that they would have had opportunities throughout the whole year to do quarterly recovery, meet with teachers, etc., to get back on track.
Are there any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clark?
Ms. Brokaw? Yes. Mr. Schreiber?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Zambito?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
No.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Fineo?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
We're still going along. Let's go on to the Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Forget.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a consent agenda for items 7.1 and 7.2, please.
Would anybody like to separate any of these 2 items out? I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
move. Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Schreiber?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Zambito?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Fineo?
Yes.
Ms. Brokaw? Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
Madam President, at this time, I'd like to present the curriculum and instruction agenda.
Go right on ahead, Mr. Forget.
What I would like to do is request permission to table item 8.6 and remove it from the consent agenda.
Okay, so, I need a motion to table item.
Before you
Go ahead, help me.
So somebody should pull 8.6 out of the consent.
Okay,
Remove 8.6.
thank you. So now, you don't need to
So you should entertain a motion on 8.1 through 8.7.
minus 8.6. All right, may I have a motion? First, would anybody like to separate out anything else?
8.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any others to separate out? So right now, we would like to entertain a motion on 8.1, 2, 3, 5, 7.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Zambito? Mr. Howard? Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Mr. Nail?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Strickland?
Yes.
Now can I go back to 8.6, 8.4? Can I have a motion, please? Let's entertain a motion. Questions or discussion? Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. I have some concerns about this proposal. It seems very expensive, and I guess it's so because it's a license that would cover 11,000 students. And I asked some questions in email, and one of them concerns popular books. And one of the things that the company advertises is that popular books are available to students through this program. It seems like the way that the company operates, those popular books are optional. And kind of the base level of service they provide is a lot of public domain books. I'm also kind of concerned about how this would be used. I asked a question about, and the answer said that this would be optional. And I'd like to understand how that works. It seems to me that a program like this, I'll admit that it can have certain advantages, and it can be a positive thing. I think we need to understand very carefully what the positive things might be. They might be if students read more because they're using a device. If they enjoy that, that could be a positive. If they spend more time reading, that's a plus. If the teachers are able to get certain data of what the students are doing that they would not otherwise, that could be a plus as well. It seems to me that these advantages only come into play if there's a careful plan for how things are moving forward. There's professional development so that the teachers understand how to use the system. And perhaps it's not optional. It needs to be an integrated part of the curriculum. There needs to be time and planning for how it will be used. Otherwise, if those things aren't in place, this seems very expensive. And if it doesn't have the books that the kids want to read, I've been told that one of the problems with this system is if the kids don't get the books they want to read, they get frustrated with it. And what I would like to see is the system be piloted. Can we try it in a small setting in a school, in some classes, particular grade? I think that would be the right way to go with this.
Well, I know Ms. Prakash has a couple of comments, and that may help you.
Yeah, I know that teachers have used this. I know of teachers that use this, that's why I brought it up. It's basically a digital library. They do have classes as well as popular books. And it was, some teachers have talked to me and said, you know, if they want a classroom book to read, some of them, instead of having to order classroom books, they could actually do it digitally. And the fact then it could be also used, they like the fact that it can be used at home on any device. Also that teachers that have used it, that they can come up with questions also on books that they're reading. You know, they can have their input into it. It's just not a canned program. They can actually put their own questions into it. And I thought it was a good idea, and we looked at it in curriculum, and decided that it was a good, you know, bang for its buck. The fact that it's K-12, and we have spent much more money just on textbooks that are, you know, and this is K-12 for all kinds of books, not just short stories, poetry, as I said, classics, popular books, and so we thought it was, you know, it was a good thing to do after we looked at the material.
Are there any other questions, Mr. Johnston?
Yeah, I'd pretty much like the system be tried out before we spend $150,000 to make it available for the district. Move the table.
I have a motion to table on the floor. Do I have a second? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Table 8.4. Ms. Zambito?
No.
Mr. Howard?
No.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Nail?
No.
Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
No.
Mr. Strickland?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. I'm sorry.
No.
No.
That motion to table fails.
Okay, so we have a motion still on the floor about light sale. I'd like to make a comment, and as a principal and as a teacher, anytime that I could get materials to be in my classroom library, I would have been head over heels, whether it was the classics, popular books, whatever, just to get my kids alternatives to read. Because most of the time, the classroom library was purchased by me or by, my friends that were teachers. So I really think that this is helping supporting classroom libraries. So I feel really strongly that this is something that would be really, really good in that vein. Go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
I just would support classroom libraries. And if it were my choice to make, I would take the $150,000, divide it by 400 classrooms, and give every teacher $375 to purchase whatever books they think the kids would enjoy reading. And the books that they purchase, they might last longer for a year, and this license isn't going to.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Mr. Stronach.
So I don't know if the question was answered as far as the books that, popular books that the children may want to read. Do they have to be purchased individually? Are they purchased in groups of 20? Or is it all included in the price that we are going to, or that we're voting on?
Dr. D, you know that answer?
I'm trying to read,
Ms. Prakash, what do you think? Because you're the one that's most familiar with this.
It was basically, it was all included, if they wanted to read it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Menuda?
So my only question is, this is all online and the teachers can track just in time, the reading, I read through that. My question is every student in the class going to be required to utilize this versus just reading a book? In other words, if a teacher is trying to track the class, some kids read a hard copy and other kids don't participate on this digital format, that teacher will have no ability to track that student.
I do think there's some value in certainly providing resources to teachers so that way they can engage their children. And so while I appreciate the discourse that's taking place, I also think there's probably some value, given how new this is, to do some piloting at some level. So if it's at all beneficial to the board, I know the table failed, but perhaps there's a way to.
So why don't we go for the vote, and if the vote's
And then
no, and then we'll get a pilot for next meeting. Okay. If the vote is no, then they'll come back with maybe a pilot. Okay, so we have the resolution on the floor. Any more questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Howard?
I would like to move for reconsideration on the motion. So if I want to vote this down now, so we can do maybe a pilot. So I would vote no here, correct? So no.
Mr. Johnston?
Yeah.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda?
No.
Ms. Prakash?
Yes.
Mr. Stronach?
No.
Mr. Walker?
No.
Ms. Zambito?
Yes.
That item fails.
Okay, so we'll see you back. We're going to move to item 8.6. May I have a motion, please? Can I have a second? Okay, now I need somebody to table this motion.
So move.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
For tabling, this motion is on 8.6, the table. Mr. Johnston? Yes. Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda? Ms. Prakash?
Yes.
Mr. Stronach?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Zambito?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
That concludes our items, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Let's see where we are. We're going to move back up to the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Padilla.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. We have several items for this evening. So, as you know, this year's mantra is do it with love. And we've highlighted the many ways our community has reflected love throughout the year. You and so many others have embodied this mantra. And I personally, and my team personally, thank you. There was no better example of how our mantra ultimately came into action than what occurred last week. An unexpected tornado touched down and in 12 minutes caused massive damage. Our sincerest thank you to our election inspectors who had to do a lot of this work in the dark. To our buildings and grounds crew who were up early and worked throughout the entire day to get our buildings up where they needed to be. To the cafeteria staff that upon the decision to open GAMS Thursday and Friday, so that way our community would have access to both hot and cold food, made themselves accessible. These are just a few examples of what occurred last week that reflected the true spirit of what our mantra is. It was very special. We had board members, administrators, teachers, and countless community members who showed up. And they showed up to help. And what might not be noted is that not one person was asked to volunteer. People showed up. Tonight, we're wearing purple in remembrance of Gina Garzone. Gina is a sweet child. She was a scholar with tremendous promise. Purple was her favorite color. We ask that you please keep her family in your thoughts and prayers, and also to the faculty and staff of Meadow Hill School who are mourning her loss. While this was all taking place, our very first inaugural class of P-Tech had their graduation at SUNY Orange. And among the sea of adults, there were 17 NFA students who sat in the crowd. And it was an absolutely beautiful sight. Their smiles extended from ear to ear, and yet it was another example of how Newburgh shined bright. I'd like to thank the leadership at P-Tech, and we have Mr. Dotto and Mr. Rothman here, so thank you for what you've done. And a sincere thank you to all of the volunteers who gave of their time. What took place at SUNY Orange was really a highlight of our district. These young scholars were able to graduate with both an associate's and soon, next month, be able to graduate with a diploma at the same time. And when you're feeling down and people want to bring you troubling news, I'll ask you to lift your head up and have pride in knowing that amazing things are happening here. With that said, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Rabinowitz and Mr. Kraukoff.
Thank you, Dr. Padilla. Good evening, Madam President, Board of Education members, senior staff, and community. This evening, it gives me great pleasure to present the Division of Technology's One Thing. As you're aware, the district has been going through digital convergence. And areas that we wanted to focus on was based on feedback and surveys from our staff, speaking with our technology staff, which consists of the technicians, the network specialists, the help desk coordinator, our supervisor for IT, from our classroom teachers, and really digging in and finding out really what's going on with technology. If we rewind and a year ago, like in July, when we first came in, what was really truly happening? We had our Prometheans coming in, and we had them, but did our teachers really know how to use them? What could we focus on that would really truly change our direction in our district? So what you're going to see next, and I'm going to ask Mr. Mr. Lewis to connect, is the areas that we focused on. The first one was our strategic measure 1, which was, we said by June 2018, all our teachers are going to be Promethean trained in level 1 and level 2 at 100%. Did we meet that criteria? Well, in October, 30% of our teachers have been trained. January, 50% of our teachers have been trained. March, 75% of our teachers have been trained. So it's truly not the division's one thing, but it's the district's one thing. If you look at this chart, you'll see we have about 1,000 teachers. We truly focused initially on the classroom teachers, because they really are at the root cause, they impact instruction in the classroom. We did it after school, through the summer, fall, spring, in the evenings, and our teachers came out. We were very impressed, and you're starting to really see the training. In addition to level 1 and level 2, we also are offering level 3 training, active wall training, and also hands-on training where they actually use the Promethean and then they use the active learning space. So that's also taking place, when initially we only wanted to focus on level 1 and level 2. It's really been a nice convergence to see everything going on. If I can ask Mr. Lewis to continue to the next slide. Another measure that we had was our help desk tickets. So we all know the technology in the district. Rewind again a year ago, what did exist? We had limited staff, we had broken technology. We really knew that to truly impact our teachers, our students, we needed technology that worked. When we talked to the technicians, we learned a few different things. We learned that they needed more training in certain areas. We learned that things needed to be purchased and hadn't what they needed to do. So we truly focused on working with them, and we set out the goal for by June, again, 2018, 100% of our help desk tickets would be closed within 5 days. In October, 20% of our tickets were closed. January, 40%. March, 60%. Again, this is not my one thing, this is the division's one thing. Everyone was truly focused on making sure those tickets were closed and they were helping our students and our staff. You'll notice some of the other areas, tickets closed in 10 days, 11 days. You'll see it's a small percentage. And those were tickets that maybe were waiting for a part or there's a circumstance beyond our control. But again, they really focused. They got the support. We worked on training. We're also rolling out training for the whole district. And 79% of our tickets have been closed in 5 days. That's pretty impressive. And I really want to commend the technology department because truly, in order to move where we need to go, we need to have working equipment. And they really focused and they completed it. So I'm very proud of that for them. If you can go to the next slide. So the last piece is what else did we have going on in the district? We have G Suite. What we did is we focused on a pilot, and Mr. Krauskopf will speak to it in a few minutes. But we knew, you had mentioned pilots earlier, we knew in order to really see students and teachers using it, we needed to put a pilot out there to make people comfortable with it, give us feedback, and that's what took place with the G Suite. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Krauskopf, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. So with regard to G Suite, the idea was that as the district explored moving to Google's G Suite to provide students with anytime, anywhere, any device access to their work rather than being confined to our networks and our physical buildings, was to have a group of several different pilots where they had access to Chromebooks and they utilized the various resources. And it's really not surprising if you've ever watched kids and teachers engaged in this type of program. the excitement around learning at 11 o'clock at night when one might be more awake and with it and ready to learn than at 7:30 in the morning. So right off the bat, teachers involved in the pilots were assigning projects to students using Google Classroom and using a suite of tools. Students were interacting with it. And if you take a look, I wanted to do quarter by quarter, but we've just blown through it. It's once teachers and students start using it, it becomes part of the fabric. It's almost the oxygen of their learning, if you will. They're able to go online, not just type reports and do things that you might think of as simply substituting for what goes on in old school, if you will, but they're able to utilize these resources to connect with others around the community, the country, the world, and bring resources in and take further ownership of their learning. So we're excited to move forward with this. The pilot has been a huge success, and we're very pleased with the progress we saw with the students and the excitement of the teachers. And a big thank you to the instructional technology facilitators who have, most of them have already been certified by Google as educators, and it's a rigorous exam, and they continue moving forward with that so they're able to support the teachers and the students in the learning next year. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them, but we just wanted to again thank the instructional technology facilitators, the computer technicians, and the technology staff, because without them, this couldn't have been accomplished.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
The oxygen of their learning, John? How many teachers are certified at this point?
We have, for the instructional technology facilitators, we have seven who've gotten the at least level 1. They're engaged in studying for level 2 certification. And this is it's a 15-hour course of study and then a practical exam, not a multiple choice. So we're excited.
Thank you. Madam President, that concludes my items. That does not include my items. Item 3.4 is a resolution to approve closing the Newburgh Free Library for staff development on August 24th.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Beneo?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
Mr. Strittmayer?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Ambito? Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Thank you. That concludes my items, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Dia. We're going to move on to public discussion and comments on agenda items. We are now at the section of the agenda for public discussion and comments on agenda items. Please refer to the regulations regarding discussion and comments that is posted next to the sign-in sheet. We have 2 people signed up, and the first one is Ms. Carrie Robinson.
Good evening. I want to thank Mr. McCoy for the opportunity to stand before the school board this evening. I was one of the candidates that was running for the school board, and until this horrific storm took place. I am only one voice of many that resides in the Newburgh School District who feels a revote should be implemented for those who are not able to vote due to the tornado that left our community paralyzed for several days. And I want to also say thank you and kudos to those who came out and really brought the community together. I think it was a great effort and an outstanding part of being in a great community. According to the Time Carroll record, Eldridge was the only local district to close their polls and reschedule their election for June 19th. Superintendent Morgano, he was quoted as saying, the state education department basically said it was a local decision. Then on the other hand, Pine Bush School District and the Newburgh School District stayed open because they were not authorized to close the polls. According to the Deputy Executive Director and General Counsel of the New York State Board Association, Jay Morano, he said there is no playbook to follow. Well, my question is, who makes this call? I think it's time to make someone accountable to make the decision to either stop the vote or reschedule another specific date and time for those who do not have the opportunity to cast their votes in the event that this should happen ever again. So as I address the school board, I realize you may not be able to make the rules, but I strongly feel that collectively, you as one unit, or you as a unit, can implement the change. In my humble opinion, I see the Board of Education as vital to our community. And each one of you that are currently serving is because enough of us, the community, believed in you and your leadership abilities to be an asset to our children and our community. And what do you think that this will be a great opportunity to show your integrity and leadership abilities to those who are not able to cast their votes and whose opportunities that was denied. To move forward and dismiss this natural disaster as a state of emergency as a normal poll voting day is just not the right thing to do. There was nothing normal about that day after the tornado hit Newburgh. 2 lives was lost, trees were uprooted and falling, roofs were ripped off buildings, many were stuck in traffic jams, power failures, some fearing for their lives, and anyone who went out to put themselves in that atmosphere was in immediate danger. Think about it. Since you were all voted in because the people believed in you and had faith in you, what would be your expectations as to how you would want the election to be handled in the event of a natural disaster and state of emergency? State of emergency is issued to tell people to stay in their homes because of very extreme and hazardous conditions. Once that's declared, from my understanding, I don't think I would ever want one of my loved ones to go out and be a part of that. And to be totally honest with you, had I not cast my vote at 1 o'clock that afternoon, I would not have been one of the ones. I would have been one of the ones that I'm speaking of now that I did not get out to vote. So in short, I'm saying, due to the catastrophic event that paralyzed our city, let's make a date to give everyone that opportunity to vote and set up a date and time and even a policy and procedure to implement clarity in the event this should ever happen again. Thank you for giving me this time.
We have one other person that signed up, Ms. Mary Cheers.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I don't know Mr. McCoy. Hello, Mr. McCoy. I'm Mary Cheers. I'm the one who spoke to you yesterday. And I too was a little concerned with the way the elections went, the way the awards was given, because I thought for certain that they were going to shut it down, but they didn't. They stayed until 9 o'clock, and I was told before I went to bed that they had already did the elections, and the election was awarded, and Wednesday it was in the paper. And my concern also is that everyone was not able to vote. I know people who were not able to vote, and to me, that's so unfair. Now, what I did do, I did some research, and I don't know what procedures we use. I would like to see them. As Mr. McCoy told me when I asked him how many people voted, he told me to research it. I didn't research that, but what I did research the state of New York election law. And it says here, as a direct consequence of a fire, earthquake, tornado explosion, power failure, active sabotage, enemy attack or other disasters. These are grounds to have an additional day for voting. And I think in all fairness, we should afford this to the people who are not able to get here. I have a friend who was stuck at the airport. I had friends that were stuck down in Grand Central, and they were stuck, I don't know what time they got on, because they didn't have power. I was blessed to have power, okay? Thank you, Jesus. So anyway, to touch on what Ms. Robinson said, this is something that we really need to take to heart and look into. I was born, and a few of you probably just a few of you were born prior to 1965. And we know how that was, especially for African Americans. And thank God for Dr. Martin Luther King. So now we all have a right to vote. And we should all make sure that everyone is afforded that right. I also have Chapter 7, which was some lawsuits. One of the lawsuits that someone brought against this, I guess the board was against the elections, and it had to do with people not being able to vote. So they were awarded money because they were unable to vote. And it says it was a condition that was impossible for voters or election officials to get to the polls. So although the polls stayed open to 9, people could not get there. So it was open to no afford. So this is something I hope that we can come together and work on, because to me, the people who they did put in there, all the people, you know. But my thing is, I want this thing to be done fair. And right now, I don't feel that it's fair. It's not sitting right now. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time. Thank you for inviting me here, Mr. McCoy. And that's all I got to say.
Mr. Shaw, would you like to respond?
I'll respond on a very limited basis and a point that's important in terms of the law. School district elections are not governed by the elections law. For whatever reason, there are a couple of provisions of the election law that apply, but that's not among them. The issue of closing down the polls, previous speaker was right on. This is really not precedented in school district elections. And certainly if the emergency conditions around are such that someone has to make a decision in one of the other districts, the decision was made and perhaps they were criticized for closing down the polls. So it's something that ought to be addressed probably by the legislature, and maybe it's the governor who has to watch what's going on throughout the state and declare emergencies and close down the polls. And then if the requisite hours of voting are not met, the election would be a nullity.
Is there anybody else that would like to address the board on agenda items? Mr. Collado, come on up and give your name and your address.
Hi, Bob Collado, in New York. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to address an item you just discussed, 8.4. I think I got the gist that we all are in favor of not only improving reading proficiency, but also encouraging it. It's kind of hard to lose an argument when you're looking to promote reading. But I also had to raise questions about the process by which this program was selected and for some of the discussion points that I heard. The question comes down to, from both professional and also personal point of view, is what works both effectively and efficiently when you're trying to bring about this skill of reading, and also the passion and the ability to carry on that throughout your life. Just like with most decisions, all the dollars and time invested, giving students, in this case, the rate of proficiency, hopefully better than what we are doing now. And I heard nothing about that regarding this program. Typically, when you have a program to sell, there's some plus on the plus side about improvements. Nothing was mentioned about that. Will this $150,000 a year investment improve proficiency better than what we are investing in now? And what I'm hearing is, well, teachers like it. Well, you put 500, 1,000 teachers in the room, you'll have 500 and 1,000 different likes, and probably all of them have some merit to it, but we can't spend $150,000 on each one of them. We have to have some kind of means to sort out and find ways that best address the needs of the students, and as I said, effectively and efficiently. I didn't hear anything about research. If your company's selling you a $150,000 bill, I would hope they have $150,000 plus worth of research behind it to demonstrate that what they're saying is not a sales pitch or simply warm and fuzzies to make you feel good at the end of the day. How you roll it out is the research. You know, how well does it apply to a district like our own, given various universities? I heard something about a lot of titles, but then the question wasn't exactly answered proficiently as to what's the limit on those titles and what is the accessibility to those titles. Is it mandated for all students to use this program for the purpose, as stated, to track and to evaluate reading? And the answer is no, from what I heard. So now what do you do? You got 3/4 of your class doing it, not doing it, sometimes, not sometimes. You know, I don't know if a company or any kind of a line manufacturer is going to allow employees to choose or not to choose the automated system versus the manual system as the vehicle rolls down the road through the line there. What are the implications? You know, what have they found through research as to how this affects reading, how it affects teaching, how it affects class dynamics in terms of addressing language arts skills program? And what happens when the funding runs out? Where's the funding coming from? Is it aidable? And if it gets cut back, then what? Are we shifting monies around? Instead of $150,000 to the library, we're giving $150,000 to this program, or are we trying to fund both? Feed both mouths. The pilot does sound like a nice alternative, actually a more professional approach. Break it up according to the grade levels, compare existing classrooms using it to those who volunteer to use it, and maybe a control where there's no use. 11,000 students sounds like a big number that we're, populating with these books, but I would imagine that's only going to, relate to classrooms that use reading material. What about the non-academic programs? Not to, demean them, but how well are they going to use this program? Is that $150,000 really going to be addressing what this district really needs, or are we looking at something else? Thank you for your opportunity to discuss this, and I thank you for your vote to look back at it.
Would anyone else like to address the board on agenda items? If not, I'm going to move on to Mr. Kern, our Assistant Superintendent for Finance.
Good evening, Madam President. Tonight we have one item on the resolution 9.1, resolution to approve the bids.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please. Questions for discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda? Ms. Brokaw? Mr. Stridiron?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Ambito?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Madam President, that concludes the items for finance for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Kern. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Mr. McNamara.
Thank you, Madam President. On the HR agenda, we have items 10.1 through 10.13 on the consent agenda for your consideration.
Would any member like to separate out any items? I would like to separate out item 10.4. Can I have a motion on items 10.1 to 10.13 minus 10.4? Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
Ms. Brokaw? Mr. Stridiron?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Ambito?
Yes.
Mr. Howard? Mr. Johnston? Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes. We're going to go to item 10.4. I'd like to entertain a motion, please. questions or discussion? I would like to say something on this item. I have grave concerns about New Winter School having a change in administration for the third time in 3 years. I really think that that's a lot for any school to put up with, and I know that this is a school in good standing. I have a really strong concern in this area. I just wanted to put that on the floor. Would anybody else like to have any questions or discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Stradar.
I'm glad you said it first. I agree that change for every year is difficult. But in this situation, it's a position that is a different type of position that the person is going for. So, I mean, we're just going to have to keep trying to find good people to fill in for the schools that will be vacated.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Mr. Menuda.
Just a comment, if we look at that in another way, it's kind of impressive that the school is still in good standing, given the fact that we've had these turnovers. So that's a testament, I think, to the staff that's there.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
Mr. Strumeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Zambito?
Yes.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
No.
Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
Item 10.14 is for your information only. It's for administrators and teachers that are coming up for tenure in the month of June. That concludes my items, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McElmore. We're going to move on to the clerk of the board, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you, Madam President. I have the approval of the minutes from the May 8th, 2018 meeting.
I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Strumeyer?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Zambito? Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston? Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda?
Yes.
Ms. Prokop?
Yes.
That concludes my items, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. We're now at the portion of the agenda for public discussion on non-agenda items. Please refer to the procedure sheet next to the sign sheet. There is no one signed up. Would anybody like to address the board on non-agenda items? Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby recesses into executive session for the following purpose: employment history of particular individuals, matters leading to the employment of particular individuals, and to obtain advice from legal counsel. We have a motion, please. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Zambito?
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Mr. Levinstein?
Yes.
Ms. Mineo?
Yes.
Mr. Menuda? Ms. Prokop? Mr. Stradiner?
Yes. We will not be conducting business after this executive session.